Good evening, everybody, and thank you for clicking on the link for Ben Site's classroom tonight. I hope everybody's well. Hope they're all looking after yourselves as well in this difficult time. I thought I'd make a very short video tonight, hopefully no more than 5 minutes long, which is going to introduce you to a resource. This is a fantastic website. The website is called the OgdenTrust.com. This is a physics-based charity. I've done a lot of work with the Ogden Trust over the last few years, whose primary aim is to support students through school throughout their physics education, offer physics subject specialist training to newly qualified teachers, to teaching partnerships, that's a local group of schools all working together, and they do a lot of work in the local community and helping to upskill teachers all across the country to help them give their students the best possible chances when it comes to learning physics at school. Here's the website. So it's the ogdentrust.com. It's a very easy website to find, and it's a really lovely, friendly website laid out in a really nice way. Very easy to navigate through. All links and tabs at the top work brilliantly as well. So I just thought I'd give you a quick tour on this website just for something that I think might be useful for you guys at home. So if you are home educating at the moment, you're working with your little ones and your mums and dads or carers, then a lot of these links at the top, although interesting, so for example, if we click on the About Us tab, you can read a little bit more about who the Ogden Trust are and their supporting physics teaching strands and all the ideas behind the company that help them do what they do. But more importantly for you guys, I think, is this tab at the top here that says Resources and CPD. So if we go back to the start again, so here's the beginning homepage, and we find Resources and CPD at the top. You can see that there. I'm just going to click on it. It will open into this page here, and you'll see that there's 4 tabs here: Primary Curriculum Resources, Primary CPD, Secondary and Other. Now, if you're primarily looking after younger children who are still in primary school, then you clearly want to be focusing on these top 2. Now, if we move away from teacher-based subject training at the moment, which is this tab here, Primary CPD, we're going to focus more on primary curriculum resources. So again, if we click this tab here, you will see that it opens up into these different strands. Now, if you've been following my channel, you may have heard me mention things like problem solving, working scientifically, ideas over time. These are all strands that the national curriculum in the UK helps us try and work towards with our children when working with them, to try and get them to do work that fits into some of these subheadings. So what I want to do is give you some advice on perhaps what you can get from these tabs here. So if we click on the first one, Fizzy Practical, you'll notice they use that word fizzy quite a lot as well. First thing you notice is it opens into a catalogue, a library of downloadable PDF documents. Now these are brilliant, absolutely fantastic. I've had a hand in helping to design some of these myself. And you'll see on the side here, you can first of all sort, so you can say to yourself, well, we're going to do a little bit of work next week, and we're going to do some work on, let's say, Earth and space. So you can click this tab at the side here, and you can go all the way down to the bottom and click filter, and it will just show you all the activities based around Earth and space. If I unclick that, because I want to be able to show you much more than that, you can see we have a wealth of resources on the website that are absolutely fantastic. Now, a lot of these resources I've used when going out to work with schools and teaching other teachers on how to use physics in their classroom in different ways, but I've also used these with my students in my class as well. So for example, if I take, let's take one of my favorites, which is here in the middle, Fizzy Practical Play-Doh Planets. Again, this is a relatively simple activity you may be able to carry out at home. It requires children to have access to Play-Doh and usually a piece of paper, and often sometimes a ruler or a little plastic knife or spoon. And you can see that you can first of all open the document here. They're all PDF documents. You can either click on it here or you can click on the download link over here, but I just go to this one here. So you'll see that the page will open up. It's called Fizzy Practical Play-Doh Planets. It will give you an idea of a rough age band that this practical is best used for. It will give a little bit of an introduction here. It talks about the solar system containing 8 planets and our star, the sun. It says this practical activity challenges children to apply their understanding of fractions to compare the relative sizes of the 8 planets. So in a nutshell, what this is an activity that gets children to make a model of the solar system, but not by showing how close these planets are to each other, but more by showing something called mass, how much stuff is locked up in our solar system. So if you were going to split a 10 centimeter piece of Play-Doh into all the planets of the solar system, which planets would have the most and which would have the least? And instead of just randomly guessing, you follow a really good guide here, a method whereby you are rolling pieces of Play-Doh and chopping them up into fraction parts and getting the kids to use measurements on a ruler, getting them to think about fractions and fifths and fourths and eighths, and it's really good. And we've done this with adults and kids, and it's quite fun actually, because by the time you've chopped most of your Play-Doh up, you're down to the tiniest amount. And one of the instructions you can see down here, it says cut the remaining piece into 5 equal pieces, and it gets harder and harder and harder to do this. So here's one activity that I would wholeheartedly recommend, Play-Doh Planet. It's brilliant. If we go back to our resources tab at the beginning, and again we're clicking primary curriculum resources, you can see that underneath the practical guide there are lots of other guides as well. For example, there are some problem solving activities which involve actually downloading practical based model making activities as well. We've got one here which involves making a racetrack using magnets and cars. And this might be something you can use magnets in your refrigerator. Again, if I just go back just to pick out some ones that I really like the idea of using here, and ideas over time as well. So this involves using things like place cards, research cards, fact files. If I choose this one in the middle, research card, moon landings, because as you probably know from my channel, I have a deep interest in space and astronomy, I'm going to click it again, and this would be something that goes very well with the previous activity here, Play-Doh Planets. So this is all about getting children to have a look at different research fact cards to do with different missions that are destined to go to the moon. So we've got ones on here about Apollo 11, we've got one on here on Lunar 9 as we go through Apollo 15, and so on and so on. And then when we get down towards the bottom of this document, there's a framework that children can use. So again, if you're printing resources out and you have that option at home, you can even print this out. So it gives children the opportunity to find out information and then write the information down here. It was such an important skill of researching and pulling out the best bits that you can. And of course, there's lots of activities that could follow on from this, getting the children to put together presentations about each individual mission, doing mini presentations back to you. They could connect their information to their TV in their house through their iPad or through their computer that they're using, and they can share this information with you as parents, so you could become their new audience who they present information to. The OgdenTrust.com, it's a fantastic website. It contains lots of information about how we're upskilling physics teachers and students all across the country. But for you guys at home, resources section, primary CPD resources here, not CPD I'm afraid, primary curriculum resources. There are also resources in the secondary side as well. You can see if we click on that, we can open up here. So just so we're not constantly basing our work on the primary side, there are, as you can see here, a little bit of information fact files here, more so about schools organising events. But what I found primarily is that the best ideas come from our resources and CPD section. You can also download lots of previous newsletters that as a company we put out as well, which give really good ideas on how best to be working with physics ideas in the classroom and beyond. But there is so much on here. It's so easy to download. Have a little play, choose something you really like the look of, and if you do feel like having a go on some of these, as always, please post some pictures below the video link and show us what you're doing, and give a big shout out to the Ogden Trust. Thank you everybody for tuning into this video tonight. I hope we're all safe and well. Look after everybody and speak soon.